Hi everyone, my name is Gordon, and today we are going to talk about the Salesforce Write Back tutorial. To get started, you're going to need a couple things. The first thing you're going to want is a Salesforce account. Here you're going to need a username, password, and your token. If you need to get your token, you can just ask for a reset password in your reset password email. You will see your token included, and that will come up in a little bit. You're also going to need an Anvil account. The way you can get started here is if we go to Anvil. You go to your home page after you log in, click on blank app, and follow the Tableau extension. So here we've got the home screen. We're going to start off with section 1. We're going to create our user interface. I've gone ahead and already prepared some of these material for expediency. If you're not familiar with how to go and set up components, please reference some of our other tutorials. So at the end, your screen's going to look like something like this. We have a label here, here, and here in the blue. We've got another label here, which will populate with our opportunity name. And we've got a drop down. This we will populate with some information for stages, close date with a calendar, and a text box for amount. We also have this button here that we'll use to submit our changes. So now that we've got our interface set up, we are going to want to connect to Tableau. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here on the left to this button add, and we're going to add the secrets option. We're going to create 3 secrets. So the first one we're going to create is the SF password. Then we're going to create SF token. And we're going to create our SF username. And we will reference these later. I'll go ahead and do this off screen and enter these. But now this is where you go and set your value and enter your password. Awesome. So now we have that set up. We're also going to want to set up a server function. So we'll go over here to this left side, see this button under server code, and we're going to add a module. And we are going to call this our server. So for this tutorial, we're going to actually use a unique library. It's called Simple Salesforce. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to go from Simple Salesforce, import Salesforce. Then we'll say def Salesforce connect. And then we'll go here and we'll find our username equals sales anvil.secrets dot get secret, and then we're going to say SF username, and then we'll go password equals anvil.secrets dot get secret password, and security token equals anvil.secrets.getSecret token. Then to complete our connection, we're going to say SF is equal to Salesforce. I go username equals username, password equals password, and security token equals security token. And finally, we're going to return SF. That's it. So now we got our connection screen set up to Salesforce. And feel free to test it now on your own. So next, what we're going to want to do is we're going to start actually fetching data from Salesforce. And there's 2 ways you can do this. You can either go through and use a query through something like Pandas, set it into a data frame, or we can use Salesforce's APIs. The documentation will have instructions on how to do both. We'll do one of each, for example. So we'll first, we want to import pandas as PD. And then we'll say def opportunity stages. Say SF equals Salesforce Connect. And then we'll say def op stage equals PD dot data frame. And then we'll say SF dot query. And I'm going to copy this over from the tutorial. We've got something like that. And then we've got op stages equals def op stage master label to list turn op stages. So if you recall, on the main screen, we had a dropdown for opportunity stages, and we'll use that query to populate the list of stages here. The other way that we can do this is through the Salesforce API. So we can do something like def get opportunity, if I could spell. And here we're going to use the variable op ID, which we'll be getting from our dashboard. And we're going to say SF equals Salesforce Connect. Open that connection again. Then opportunity equals SF dot opportunity. Get op ID. And then we're going to just return that opportunity. Now, that's not the only one. We also want to create an update. So we will also go down here. We'll say def update opportunity. And we'll take an op ID again. And we're going to have a change dictionary, which will be a list of changes that we take from the client-side code. And here, again, open the connection, SF equals Salesforce Connect. Then we want to say SF changes is equal to K V or K comma V in change dict dot items if B is not none. Then this SF changes, we want to send that to Salesforce. SF.opportunity update op ID, comma, SF changes. There we go. Now, in order to make this usable from our client, we're going to have to add something called a decorator. In order to do that, we're going to say at anvil.server.callable, and this makes it so that we can reference this from the client side. And we're going to want each of these to be callable. At the end, your server code should look something like this. Now we're going back to our client, and we're going to start bringing things together. So for those of you that don't have it set up already, I would say go in and check for this Trex jacket-BT. We'll be using this library. This is the library that you can use to set up Anvil X. Close that. Now I'll go back over to code. First thing we're going to do is from Trex jacket import API. And we are going to create a dictionary. And And the first thing we're going to want to do here is we're just going to clear this out. So there's a little bit of space. Say self.reset. We'll find this later. And we're going to set up a new dictionary. So we'll do self new dict equals brackets. And we're going to have something stage name. Then we're going to do close date. And then we're going to do and all of these we are going to have as items in our Tableau dashboard. Next thing we're going to do is fetch our op stages from our server code that we just set up now. First one we're going to do is op stages. So we'll go here. And we'll say op stages equals anvil.server.call. And our function is called opportunity stages. And then we're going to assign those to our dropdown on the form. So we want dropdown stage dot items equals op stages. Now, if you're familiar with the standard setup for an Anvil dashboard, we're going to set up our event handler. And the way we do that is we go here, we say dashboard equals API dot dashboard. Sorry, not dashboard. Get dashboard. DOARD. API.get dashboard. And here we'll say dashboard dot register event handler. We want selection changed. And we'll come back to this later, set our form handler. Now, if you're following along in the instructions, this is where we're going to set our form handler. And I'm going to paste in a chunk of code here, and we can talk through what it's doing. This is our event handler. The indentation set up right. So here, same as usual, get selected marks. This will just get the mark from our Tableau dashboard. If we have a mark, we want to assign those variables here that we're going to use to bind to our components, as you may have seen earlier in the video. And we're just going to fetch those items from the mark. If we have a key error, we can assign some issue where maybe something has changed about our dashboard and we get a useful notification. Otherwise, we're going to call reset. And we can do that now as well. And here, we're just going to want to clear out anything in our variables if we change. And we are also going to want to override our dictionary that we set up earlier in the event that we change as well. We'll go down again. We'll clear changes. Indent there. So here what we've done, set our event handler, and then we can go back up top and we can call our function here, self my form event handler. A quick walkthrough again. So we've got this function reset. This will clear out our dictionary and any variables. Then we'll go down, we'll create our dict. We'll get all of our opportunity stages. We'll assign those to our dropdown. We'll connect to our dashboard, register the event handler. So if any selections change, we get to update information. We'll init the component, and we've got our functions to reset, bind the variables from the dashboard. Awesome. So now we can go back to the form and connect our components. This is something I did earlier, but I can show you here. So for example, for our label, this one we're going to set to self.text, and this one's just going to be our app name. And for the rest, we can go quickly through. We have our op stage, we have our operation date, opportunity date, and opportunity amount. So as we go through, we're going to start wanting to add events to our properties or our components. So first one, we'll create something for the drop-down stage. We want to create an event on close date. So we'll go here. We also want to create an event on amount. And for amount, we're going to do text box change. And then we're going to also attach that to press to enter so that if someone hits enter in a text box, it will save as well. And then finally, we want to do our button submit. And then here, we're all ready to go. So first thing we are going to do is our change, our dropdown. So we'll say self.newDict stage name is equal to self.dropdown stage dot selected value, and good to go. And to refresh the view on the screen, we're just going to say self refresh data bindings. We can just clear out this text here, so we won't be needing it. Next, we'll do the date picker. We'll do something pretty similar. So we'll say self newDict close date equals self dot date picker dot date. We're going to say ISO format. And then we're going to go and import datetime. If you don't have it embedded in your Anvil instance. The next, we're going to do text box amount change. Here, this one is self.newDict close date equals self dot text box. Oh, oops. There we go. Self dot text box amount dot text, and we want to convert this to an integer, so we'll just wrap this and say int. And then finally, we're going to add refresh data bindings before I forget. And then finally, our new button. So here, if you recall, back in our server code, we set up this update opportunity. We're going to call this and pass our opportunity ID and our list of changes. So we'll say response equals anvil.server.call. We'll go update opportunity. And we'll say self.opid self.newDict. And we'll say if response want to self.clear changes, self.refresh bindings, And then we're all going to set up an alert. Else alert. Please make a change before submitting. Okay. And I think that about does it for us. You can give everything a quick once over. Ready to go. Now we've set up our function and we're all good. So from here, now that we've saved, you can go in and you can commit. If you'd like, you can also integrate into a Git and consolidate this down. We're going to go into test in Tableau. I'm going to use Tableau desktop. I will download the manifest file. I get my Trex. Then I'm going to go into Tableau. I'm going to connect to Tableau environment, set this up. Just pull it in here, drop my extension in. If you're not familiar how to do that, you can take the extension, drag it over, drop it in, pick from the list of extensions, access my local extension, go to downloads, I'll pick this one, close. So here we can see a list of all of my potential opportunities. Had this development environment for a little while. You can see that some of these are pretty stale. It's not very good. So United Oil and Gas Corp closed in 1. Well, maybe that didn't quite happen the way we thought it did. We go back to our value proposition and change our date to something more current. Let's go maybe May 1st. And we'll submit our changes. And those of you familiar with the Salesforce Tableau connection, you'll know that it's a snapshot. So if you want to see that reflected in our Tableau dashboard, we'll go to Data, Opportunity, Extract, Refresh. This will reload our data instance. It's computed, and we can see it changed. And if we were to go into our Salesforce environment, and I go to marketing, go to home, go to my opportunities, and look through and see those changes in here as well. Thank you very much. That was Salesforce. Hope you guys enjoyed and have a nice day.